Hey everybody, Not So Frog here, and today I have something just really different and really interesting. It's kind of been a result of all my efforts and all my learning that I've done making the Airsoft crossbow and a couple other devices and some of my slingshots. You see, I've always wanted to have a bow that shoots Airsoft BBs, and I've been working at that for probably honestly, 2 years straight. And there's been lots of failures because I tried to start without any knowledge on bows, and I was using PVC and stuff, and it just didn't work out. Everything broke, everything failed, everything bent. Nothing really worked. But after making that sort of the airsoft crossbow, I eventually decided I'd come back to this and just try it out again, give it a second go. And now that I have all the knowledge and everything, it was actually really easy to build. And I was really surprised and really happy with myself because before I had so much trouble doing it, but now it's just so easy. And I guess I'll get to that. This is an airsoft bow. It is not a compound bow or a recurve. It is more of a longbow style bow. It has a multiplex riser, which is another word for birch plywood, hardwood plywood. And that plywood is laminated, and you can see right here, this is to allow the ball to shoot through the center. So it's laminated to 3 pieces of 1/2-inch ply, and then there's a hole cut through the center. The string itself, you probably see that from there, it is a double string. 2 times instead of 1 time for a string, which is kind of different for a bow, but that's because, there's no real contact with anything, so no guidance like the crossbow has on the stock, the airsoft crossbow, so this needs to be more like a slingshot. So in between the 2 strings it had its own little tape pouch. And the limbs themselves, they are bolted into place just like you would find on a takedown bow, and they are made from width tapered and thickness tapered saw blade steels in a sort of loose laminate style stack that's covered up with some tape in case of breakage so that it won't fly everywhere. These have some little string holders that are, well, not really string holders, more like just like a little string protector on the nock, and these are just lashed in place and they're made out of rubber. Here's a little separator to keep the string separated. And yeah, over here is just a little bolt. It's kind of for aiming, but not really, mostly just like a little reference, I guess. And on here is my logo that I'm going to start putting on all my stuff that I make. And yeah, I'll bring the camera up close just to give you a sort of up-close look of what that all looks like. So yeah, as you can see, the saw blade steel limbs are width tapered, and they got a sort of loose laminate. You can Google that if you don't know what that is. Basically, you just stack up a whole bunch of pieces to make a sort of thickness laminate and width laminate. These are the rubber stoppers and knock protectors. The double string is made from some very, very thin fishing line. Here's a little pouch made out of hockey tape for holding the BB. You grip the pouch like this, and you pull back. Different from a slingshot pouch in that way, you're actually gripping the BB itself. Here is that cutout riser with the sort of reference point aiming system. The grain itself and like the thickness looks really, really smooth, and I really like that little striped look it almost gives off. And here's the pouch separator, and yeah, that's the whole bow. It's probably about, I'd say, 5 feet long. It's about the size of a longbow, a mix between a longbow and a recurve bow, I'd say. So I'm just going to use some 20-gram BBs and take a couple of shots at those bottles over there. Again, if I miss anything, just give me the benefit of a doubt. I'm not very good at shooting this. I kind of just made it and just finished it today. And, I'm less of an archer, more of a slingshot shooter, so that's kind of my fault too. I got to work on my form a bit. But, it is accurate, so just blame me if I don't hit anything. There's that oil jug. Miss. There's that bottle. That one was a miss again. There we go. Alright. So, for a good comparison, I'm going to be shooting my airsoft crossbow here. This is the one that was in my very first YouTube video. It still works great, still shooting well, but there are a couple of key problems that the airsoft bow really fixes up. Although it does shoot a little bit slower than the crossbow, and I'm going to take some shots and you'll see that. And the accuracy, well, this is more of a gun, so you know, it's a lot easier to aim. The accuracy is a bit worse though. So I'll just do the same shots I did before, this time with the crossbow. Alright, jug. Alright. Bottle. So as you can see, it's got a lot more force going behind it, but not too much. So there is a bit of a difference between it and bow, but because the bow is quieter, it kind of makes up for it. Now I'll do that last shot. Yeah. So I've really gone and done some debates with myself about really which is best for airsoft. There's the slingshot, and then there's a bow, and then there's a crossbow. There's different qualities and different problems in each of them, and the slingshot's kind of the best of all worlds. The only problem is airsoft's supposed to be realistic, and who goes around killing people with a slingshot in real life in a war? This doesn't really make sense. But either way, like I said, best of both worlds. Got about the same power, if not more, than the airsoft crossbow, with, you know, way more simplicity and way more stealth. Like I said, airsoft crossbow power. And that was a miss, a bit to the right. It's kind of a problem with this sort of over the fork shooter. I'm used to it through the fork slingshot, so this is sort of a different thing for me. And a couple of people were telling me in my videos that I should actually do and live up to the comparison, because I always say, oh, it shoots about as fast as an airsoft spring pistol, but I never actually showed a spring pistol shooting. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to take those same 3 shots, but with an actual airsoft gun, just to sort of show you the difference in power and the difference in stealth and so on. First shot, oil jug, hit. Second shot, bottle, miss. Second shot, bottle, hit. Third shot, bottle, hit. And now I'm just going to do a quick comparison with all the weapons. Take 1 shot with each at that jug over there. That's the bow. Didn't really make it budge, but, you know, makes up for its power by being quiet. Next up, the crossbow. Dead center. Much more powerful, but still, like I said, pretty loud. Slingshot. The best of all worlds, really. The pistol. About the same as the slingshot, just much louder. So yeah, as you can see, due to the physics behind it, it does shoot a lot slower than basically everything I've shown you in that comparison. But it makes up for it by being quieter than everything in that comparison. There's really nothing as quiet I have made. I've even tried making a BB blowgun. It sucked, honestly, but it was never as quiet as this thing. You still heard like a noise. And this thing, even when dry firing it, that's because of being on the table. If I hold it up, nothing. Like, even being 10 feet away, you probably wouldn't even notice. Unless you really pulled it back and you shot it while being dry firing. Like, you know, really don't even notice. And yeah, I really like the aesthetic design. I didn't put all my effort into making it and getting a nice good finish, but I don't really care because that sort of multiplex look gives it a really, really nice, just sort of dynamic look. And my logo on it gives it a nice touch too. I'm going to remove the sight, I think, because the sight's kind of useless in my opinion. It just doesn't really work for me. It's not really good. But everything else works really good. There's a bit of accuracy issues. That, again, that's me, not the bow. So I'm going to work on that. But besides that, everything works good. For now, I think that's going to be it for today. So yeah, if you like this video, give it a like. If you want to see more like this, subscribe. And yeah, I guess that's it. So see you later.